Hey everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to DevConf India 2025. Thank you all for joining. I am Arathy Kumar and I'm a senior software engineer at Red Hat. Today we'll be exploring how web components shape the future of web development. So before learning about web components or understanding what is web components, how to do it, how to create it and all, we should understand why are we discussing it today. So there is a reason why we are here in this room discussing about web components. So the why of web components. So there is a issue which we are facing as developers are that we are supposed to migrate to technology the moment it comes into market, right? So web components are a solution of the chaotic, unmanageable, and unreliable front-end experience. Okay. Now, do we have any front-end developers here? Nice. So have you used any frameworks for development? Okay, which framework do you use? Okay, have you migrated your React application from React to something else, or you migrated JavaScript? Have you ever migrated your application from one framework to another? Okay, so were you using any UI libraries? Okay, so how did you migrate the components then? Okay. Okay. So the thing is, have you ever imagined a situation where a new framework come to the market tomorrow, okay? And you are supposed to migrate to that new component as soon as possible. But the thing is that when any new component that comes to the market, it doesn't come with the component library with it. It will take at least 1 or 2 years to build a mature component library. And if you are suppose using React, and there is a new framework which come, and to actually migrate the logic, which you write in React or written in React, which has the fetching, rendering, all that thing, to migrating to a new framework is comparatively very easy because it's all JavaScript. But to migrate the component, it will take a considerable amount of time if there is no component library associated with it. And it is not practically possible to write all the components from scratch. So it can create style and script leakage issues, accessibility issues, and all that. So web components are a solution to this problem. Nikita, can you go? Yeah, so web components provide us a standardized way to develop component which can be used regardless of the frameworks. So with pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we can create our own custom element and you can use it in any of the framework that you want. For example, like the div tag or h1 tag or the p tag, we can create our own tag. So that is the benefit of web components. Now, let's understand what are web components. Web components are basically a set of web platform APIs which help us create our own custom elements. So how do we do that? So, next slide. So now, we'll go through the core concept of web components by creating our own custom element. Okay, say we are going to create this 2 button which is highlighted in green. And if you see here in the right, so there is a red box. Inside that we have def-conf-button. So this is a component which we are going to create. It's our own component, and it can be used like how you are using your native component. Okay. Now, the first core concept, so basically the core concept associated with web components are custom elements, shadow DOM, and HTML template. Now let's understand what are custom elements. Yeah, so with custom elements, we can create our own HTML tag. So how do we create our own HTML? So we use almost all HTML tag when we work with HTML. So how do we create our own HTML tag? It is as simple as it is that we just need a class and a custom element.define function. So here in the line number 4, we have a class. Inside the class, we are defining the behavior of the element. So in this case, we are creating a button. So we are defining the behavior of that button inside the class. And in the line number 15, we are registering the element. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. Yeah, and in the line number 15, we are registering the component. So how do we register it? In the first part, we have a hyphenated tag or element name, which is def-conf-button. And in the next one, we have the class name. Yeah, so with just one class and a custom element of .define, you can create your own web component, and that's the beauty of creating web components. Now, so the second concept is shadow DOM. Okay, so what is new that, what is special about web components? So we can create our own components, right, using HTML and CSS. So what is the specialty of web components? The specialty is that the behavior of the button or any component that you create will be encapsulated. So what does it mean by encapsulated? So if you use a web component in your application, the style and script of that web component will not leak. It will not affect any other component in your page. So I'll show you a small demo to make yourself understand how the encapsulation works. It's okay, we are not going to a chemistry lab, but still, yeah. So assume this is a DOM, okay, this is a DOM which we have. And DOM is where it's a programming interface where the document is rendered so that we can manipulate the page using JavaScript. So assume this is a DOM. And now, assume that this is a button, okay. This is a button web component. And this is just plain water, it's a DOM. And this is the button which we have. It has a red colored water inside. So the thing is, the behavior of this button is a red color, okay? And it is encapsulated inside this container. So what happens is, when you add this web component inside the DOM, nothing will happen. It will exist individually, and the color of the water will not change. Now what will happen if you are directly adding the button without an encapsulation? You can see the color will change. Now how it affect, in real time? For example, you have a website with a green button, and then you are adding a blue button without encapsulation. Either the green button will become blue, or the blue will become green. So with encapsulation, you can prevent it. So this is a very basic example of encapsulation. And if your components is bigger, like if you're having a table as web component, or if it is a popover or something, the benefits are much more. So it is that you can use it anywhere. So you can create one component, you can use the same component in a React library application, in Angular application, and in Vue, or any other JavaScript framework. So this is the importance of web components. Now the third concept is custom elements. Yeah, the third concept is HTML templates. So HTML template is not something which is completely related to web component, but it is beneficial to be used in web components. So what does this do? This is like we create reusable fragments of DOM so that it can be used wherever we want, or it can be appended as a child or wherever we want, so that we can avoid code duplication. So this is how HTML template work, which means that assume that this is a web component, okay? So this is a table, okay? Now I have a filter button here, and a next and previous button here. So it is just the text here. Now, if I have the template ready, assume that this is the template of the button, okay? And if it is ready, I can just reuse it. I can just reuse a template. It's not like, so that was a simple stamp kind of thing that it's the basic thing is that you will not have to create the stamp each time. You can have a stamp and where you can print it wherever you want. So that is the HTML template. Now I'll show you the code demo of how this can be done. Yeah, and the code which I'm showing here is available in GitHub. It's open source. So you can go and check it. Can you see the page? So we are creating the def font button, which I was mentioning before was this one. So this is a register and redeem button, which is looking similar to the button which the actual def font website had. So now I'll show you how we created it. So like I mentioned, we have a JS file. It's a plain JavaScript file. Yeah, can you guys see it properly? Yeah, so we have a very plain JavaScript file, and inside that we have a template. So here the template holds the actual template of the button, and so here it is holding the button as well as the style of the button. Okay, so it is having that button element and that purple color and the border and everything. Now we are moving on to the class. So here we have the class. Inside the super class, we are attaching the shadow DOM. So I have shown you how or why we need to use shadow DOM for the encapsulation of the content. And then we have few of the functions to, like basically the life cycle function to get the data, get the button name and all that thing. So here we have few function, and here we have a function to update the label of the button. And so this is a class. It is very simple. It's a class. And then we are defining the button here. So our component is done. It is as easy as possible. It is done. And how we are using it? So here I have a basic HTML page. You can, the thing is that if you are creating this button, you can use it in any of the JavaScript framework as well as any native HTML page. So here I am importing the script which I have shown you now. So this is a script. I am importing it here, and I am directly calling the element which I just created. And we are using the hyphenated words because all the native HTML tags are single words. So the browser should understand what is custom element and what is native element. That's why we use hyphenated tag name when we create custom elements. Now I'll show you how it is important. So now we have a button. Now we have two buttons. Okay. Now I am adding a third button. Can you see it? So the third button came. Did it inherit any of the properties of the other button? No, right? Now I'll just show you the style as well. Now I have a style here, and I'm adding button background as red. Yeah, so have you seen the content which is in the web component is contained inside. So it will not leak, so it's safe to use. And if you have, so big companies will have like many portal which use the same buttons or same nav bar. So if you are using a web component, you can use it everywhere regardless of the framework you use. Now, And you can go to this GitHub ID and you can check for this project, and you can learn how to do that. Or if you have any doubt, you can directly connect with me. Yeah, now let's understand what are the benefits. So the main benefit, as I mentioned, is reusability, that you can reuse a component. You can have suppose you have 2 or 3 projects in 3 different framework. You can have another project just for this web component. Write the components over there, reuse it everywhere. So that's the benefit of first one. The second one is maintainability. So if you are a component and you are using it 10 different places, and you need to change something about that component, you just need to change it at one place. You don't have to go to 10 different repos and change it. So that is maintainability. The third one is framework-agnostic, which means that it can be used regardless of the JavaScript framework which we use. And the third one is performance. It gives better performance because web components are very light. Now, if you would like to contribute, or if you like to start creating web components, you can create it from scratch, or you can contribute to an existing library. So in Red Hat, we have a web component library, and that is Patternfly Elements, and it's an open source library. You can start working with, fixing the bug or creating new components. It is always open. You can go to this repo and start contributing if you are really willing to know. And if you want to connect with the other developers who are contributing to Patternfly, you can connect with them as well. Yeah, other than Red Hat, most of the tech giants are using web components. Google, Microsoft, IBM, all these companies have their own web component library because it is very efficient to use it. So these are the web component library names of the companies. Now, one of the main things which we should focus while creating the web components is accessibility. We should make sure that the component is accessible the moment you create it. Because if you create a component which is inaccessible and use it in 10 different pages, all these pages will become inaccessible. So make sure you follow all the accessibility guidelines while creating the component. The first one is semantic HTML. So what does semantic HTML do? So it means that if you are using a button, use a button tag. Do not use a div tag and make it to a button. Second one is keyboard navigation. Make sure your component can be navigated easily through keyboard. There is no keyboard trap. The third one is color contrast and visual design. Make sure you can see and read or perceive the content correctly. The fourth one is element internals. You can expose the internal elements using the element internals function. The fourth one is text alternatives. You must add, if you're using any image, make sure you add the text alternatives. It is applicable for both video also. And make sure whatever your component is created, especially if it is bigger component like a table or a tab panel or something, make sure it is responsive. Yeah, and if you want to know more about accessibility, we have a booth in the ground floor of Chanakya building. Please do come and visit our booth, and you will get to do some exciting activities there. So please do visit our booth. So now what is the future of web components? So web components are now widely used in AI as well to create generative AI interfaces because it can be reused, it is encapsulated, there is no style or script leakage. So the future of web components is pretty bright, and if you are interested in this concept, please do try to work on it. And if you are more interested in knowing about the generative intelligent experience, we have a talk tomorrow at 3:15 p.m. in the same room by our fellow Red Hatters Libor and Vlastimil. So please do come and attend the session. Yeah, and this is all about web components which I have to share. And any questions?
Hi, I am Arun. So my question is like, how is it web component is different from Bootstrap libraries or different other libraries which are present there, and does they also provide you some performance enhancement, or if I want to contribute to the web component, so can I use it everywhere, means in every web application? So these are my questions.
Yes. So regarding the Bootstrap libraries, I'm not sure if Bootstrap has a web component library, but the thing is, in Bootstrap, the components are built based on class names. If it has a button, it is styled based on a class name, and it is not encapsulated. Means if you have a button, and you are used in one of the page, and if you are going in the global and change the style of that particular button, it will affect throughout the application. So the web component is that if you have a component, the style from that component will not come out, and style from your component will not go in. So it is fully packed. So encapsulation is a main thing which is offered by web component, and that even the Bootstrap component, the code which we need to add is more, right? If it is a table, we need to add the whole table code. But in web component, we may be able to do that in like 2 or 3 lines of code, because the code is packed in somewhere else. You just need to use the tag names. And the third question was, yes, it is very light, so it improves the performance as well.
So one more question, like, so is it component in the React, or is it different from like in the React also we have components, right? So is it something like that?
No, it's not like that. So the thing is, I'll tell you. So with HTML and JavaScript, HTML and CSS, we create components, right? Basically, if we need to create a button, we create it. If we need to have a red button, we add a button tag and then add a class to have it red. On top of that, we'll just add it inside a wrapper, inside a shadow root. Basically, the content of the website will be inside a shadow root, so that it is, it prevents the style and script leakage. It is not dependent to any library or frameworks. I'll show you, just give me a second. Okay, can you see this? So here we have the defconf button tag, okay. And then there is a shadow root. So the the benefit of the web component is that it allows us to attach a shadow root, and whatever the behavior or the content of the element which we do, it will come inside the shadow root. So it will not be in the main DOM. So here if you see, inside the shadow root we have the style and the button tag. That's why it is not leaking, because it is packed. And it is not related to any framework, it is pure JavaScript, HTML and CSS. Yes. Yeah, yes.
So you were talking about the pattern fly, right? So is it used with in the code, do you use in the Red Hat, or is it only open source and being used by the users only?
Thank you. So it is created and maintained by Red Hat, and it is used by Red Hatters, okay. But it is open source that you can contribute and you can use it.
Okay, got it. Understood. And you were also talking about some of the features of web component,
yes.
And the things. Do you also have certain more features to talk about, so that I could also deep dive into it?
Yeah, so the basic features are definitely reusability, encapsulation, and performance. And if you want more features that you can, so the main thing is, suppose you are working on a big organization, okay, and you have 5 portals. One for customers, one for partners and all. And you will be using the same button in all, or same table in all the portals, right? To have your brand consistency throughout the pages. So the thing is, if you have this table or web component created at one place, you can use it in all 5 places. Like how this defcon button is added, you can use it easily. And if you want to change something, okay, you can go ahead and change it in the root. You don't have to go and change it into 4 different applications. And also, if your applications are in 5 frameworks, so if your application is in React and you are using a React component library, you cannot use it in an Angular project, right? But if it is in a web component, you can use it in React, Angular, Vue, Next. Regardless of the framework, you can use it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, great session so far. I have two questions regarding the encapsulation. So basically, like beyond data hiding, in bigger code bases, how we can use encapsulation to uh, like maintain the readability and the complexity of the code. How we can reduce it using encapsulation. And the another question is like just answer this question.
Okay, so encapsulation can be used to basically have the content inside and just show the required feature outside, which can be done for code readability. But in shadow root, the concept is not just that. It's that the behavior of your component is contained in a shadow root so that it will not affect any other application. Suppose, have you heard of iframes? In previously, we used to use iframes to load a content, like an external content, right? But iframe had its own limitation too. So this will be an alternative for iframes, that you can use one component and you can use it anywhere. You just need that JS file, or you just need to deploy it somewhere and do npm install of that component.
And the second question was how we can use this encapsulation methods to interact with other object-oriented components like uh, inheritance and yeah, inheritance basically. Like how we can use it.
So the normal parent-child this interaction will work here. So, and also for the style accessing, you can use particular part variables to use this style. So there are few features which you can add to interact to the component inside the shadow root. So normally when we use web components, right, we will not write a code outside of web component to manipulate it. We'll just pass the data to show it, but we'll not have JavaScript function to manipulate the web component from outside. We'll have it inside the web component. So the inheritance will not work like that, but if the web component is really big, but we can have child web components inside the same component. So the parent-child behavior will work the same.
So the polymorphism like might help.
Polymorphism,
Like the interaction with the encapsulation with the polymorphism. Like
yeah, polymorphism is basically having different behavior, right? So if you're having a button and if you have a label, okay, so you can have the button in 10 different places with the 10 different names. You can just pass the names. Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you are writing a React component, you are not exactly using HTML, but you
Yes.
are writing JSX, right?
Yes.
So do we have to take care of the transpilation when you are using web components, or React generally understands that this is a web component and applies all the JSX things to it?
So the thing is, when we use a normal H1 tag, right, we can use it in JSX extension files, right?
Yep.
It will not affect anything. Similarly, you can use it. So when you so understand this, that when you create a web component, it will behave similar to the native HTML tags.
Okay.
It's just that you get that opportunity to create your own tags.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mean that you can pass class name if you want to the web component?
We
As well,
cannot-
when you are using web component inside of a React component,
Yeah.
it just works just like any other HTML.
Yes. So here, I'll show you. Just give me a second. Using this HTML tag, right? Defconf button. So this one, in 24 and 25, This is the component which we created. The same way we can use this in React or Angular or whatever. So in React, we normally pass props, right, to the child. The similar way we can pass the props, like how here label is passed, similar way you can pass the props to the child.
Hello. Yeah, so what he was asking is, does it add React lifecycle classes, like all the event classes and all to event methods and all to the native HTML tags? Or we'll need to, I guess we'll need to wrap it around a React tag. Yeah.
So any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah. Thank you, team, and thank you so much for joining. Yeah, have a great day, and I hope you have 2 wonderful days at DEF CONF. Thank you.